my Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1656 of Toronto Mic'd. Proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. Building Toronto's Skyline, a podcast and book from Nick Ienes, sponsored by Fusion Corp Construction Management, Inc. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Joining me today, making her Toronto Mic debut, is Andrea Ramolo. I wanted to roll that R so bad. Ramolo. How are you, Andrea?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, I realize I'm so eager to get rolling because you were asking questions, and I'm like, don't talk to me, Andrea. We're going to talk on the recording. You can ask me anything now. But did you want a beer?
You know what? I actually don't even drink beer. I'm gluten sensitive. I drink wine. I drink whiskey. But I would donate beer to like my houseless friends that live in tent encampments, and I'm sure they'd appreciate that.
So I'm going to, for those people, I'm going to send you some beer for the unhoused, and it's going to be courtesy of Great Lakes Brewery. So this is going home with you, Andrea.
Amazing. So they're gonna thank you.
But now I'm listening to you tell me about this. Is it gluten that you have issues with?
Well, no, I eat a lot of bread. I mean, I'm Italian, right?
Okay.
Like you said, Palma. I've not heard of Palmas, and I'm so excited to try their pasta. Is it a lasagna?
It is a lasagna.
Lasagna?
It's in my freezer right now.
Oh gosh, I can't even wait.
You will give me a full review. Oh. Ramolo. I want a full review.
Can I correct the pronunciation? It's actually Ramolo. So
Ramolo.
Everyone puts the accent in the wrong spot. Even Italians do. I don't think it's a very typical Italian last name.
Speaking of Italians, Palma Pasta is owned by the Petrucci family, named after the matriarch Palma Petrucci. Today, I went to not Ridley Funeral Home, a different funeral home, to pay my respects. Palma passed away last week.
Oh my goodness.
96 years old.
Oh my God, what a beautiful life.
And she made a beautiful lasagna. So it's her and her husband built Palma Pasta. They're in Mississauga and Oakville, so maybe if you don't get out to the West End, you haven't heard of Palma Pasta.
I should cover them. I run an Italian blog on the side called The Vintage Italian. I'm going to promote their lasagna.
So I want a full review, and I want to read about it on, what's the name of the blog?
The Vintage Italian.
I will be I'll be subscribing to your RSS feed. I want to see when this gets written about. And I want you to come out, like, you're now an FOTM, friend of Toronto Mic. When I have an event, I'm going to have an event there in, like, it's going to be like late November or early December. I'm going to have a TMLX event. That's a Toronto Mic listener experience at Palma's Kitchen. Free event, you get free pasta. I want you to be there.
I would love to. That sounds right up my alley.
And on June 26th, which is coming up in only a few months, we're going to be at Great Lakes Brewery. I know you don't drink beer, but we'll get you a pop or something and hang out with us and have some more free Palma Pasta at this event. You're invited.
Thank you. All these invitations, all these gifts. I didn't even do anything yet.
And I mentioned Ridley Funeral Home, a measuring tape for you, Andrea.
Okay, good. I thought you were going to, give me a free spot in the casket. I'm not ready for that yet. But this is beautiful.
I was a little conversation today. Kiss makes caskets. Would you buy a casket that was branded with a musician that you liked?
I don't think so. I think I would want my casket to be very uniquely me.
And what would that be exactly?
I feel like it would have turquoise in it.
Okay.
With it would be bejeweled with something or engraved. I like ornate, kind of vintage retro type furniture. So I'd love to be, put into a casket or why are we talking about my death? I don't even want to think about it.
Well, we're talking about death, okay? And on that note, so we're going to get all the death talk out of the way.
Yeah,
and then
right off the
We're going to
top,
learn more
please.
about you. I got lots of questions. So many comments came in.
Yeah.
Somebody's on the live stream, live.torontomike.com, who saw you
Oh.
today.
Saw me today.
That's just like a teaser.
Whoa.
So you can start jogging your memory.
You
Like, who
saw
could that
me
be?
today.
Somebody saw you today.
Was
okay.
it my cats? Or is it one of my cats?
Yes, indeed. It's Felix. The cat is on the
Meow.
live stream.
Meow.
I'm playing this song. Now, you're a little younger than me, but you probably, I'm guessing you know this song by Rough Trade. Do you know this song?
Can we hit the chorus? I know Rough Trade.
Okay, let's listen.
And
want her so much, I feel sick.
what a voice, eh?
The girl can't help it, she really can't help it now. It's like a high school confidential.
Oh yes, of course.
So that's
There's the-
FOTM Carol Pope
High school,
and her bandmate and co-founder of Rough Trade passed away yesterday.
No, oh
Kevin
my gosh.
Staples. Yeah, so I just wanted to say that this is a great loss, and I'll be talking more about this with Rob Bruce on the next Toast, because I know he's another keyboardist who was pretty close to Kevin Staples. But yeah, we lost Kevin Staples.
You know, there's a lot. We just jumped right into the death talk. I have to say, you know
Gotta
what?
do it
Just,
early.
You know what? Just to get it out of the way, I lost my dear uncle yesterday, and I feel like he was such a beautiful man. And the last time I visited him, I remember bringing a guitar. I was on tour in Europe, and he was a Franciscan monk. So I brought my guitarist Sarah, and we went to the monastery and we played them a private concert. And it was like one of the most beautiful memories. Imagine just like this pristine echo, like it was like an echo chamber. Our harmonies sounded so sick. It was amazing. So yeah, that memory
Well,
just
there's a
came to
lot
mind.
there, but your guitar's name is Sarah?
One of my Sada is my Italian guitarist who toured with me through a couple of countries there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
My sincere condolences. I think that's it for death talk.
Yeah, we're gonna move into life now.
You know what, though? The cycle of life. Like, you live, you die. It's all part of the beautiful balance in the
cycle, yeah.
universe.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, and I know I teased that name, a person who saw you. I'm going to get to that in like a moment here, but do you know the name Blair Packham?
Of course, I love Blair. Blair's like a dear old friend. I don't even know how many years I've known him, but I feel like when I was just a young budding songwriter, which was a long time ago now, 20 years, that's probably when I crossed paths for the first time with Blair. And I've worked alongside of him quite a bit. He brings me on for his song studio workshops where I get to mentor alongside people like Ron Sexsmith and, Andy
Ron
Stachansky.
Sexsmith.
Yes.
Andy Stoke, of course, these are great names. Drop as many names as you can in this episode. I want to
I will. I like
know everybody
you know
you're
what?
hanging with.
Yeah, well, Blair and he just does a great thing. He's a great musician. He's a great friend. You know, we've shared many heart to hearts.
How many hearts do you have over there, Andrea?
I think I might have two, or just one really big one that feels like two sometimes.
Is it cows? No. Do cows have multiple hearts? No, I might be confusing it. What animal has multiple hearts?
I've never even heard of this.
Do any?
I never paid
It might be
attention in
stomachs.
science
Maybe
class.
cows have multiple stomachs. Can somebody fact check this for me on the live stream? Who's got multiple organs going on there? Well, the reason I brought up Blair Packham is because he's like, you got to have Andrea. Now I'm going to butcher it, but I'm going to try hard. Okay, give me a moment here. Ramolo. No.
Almost Ramolo.
See,
Let's do the Canadianized way. Ramolo.
Ramolo. He says, you got to get Andrea on the program. I'm just going to call you Andrea for
Yeah,
now. And
that's
you're
fine.
like Cher, Madonna. You
Just
don't
say,
need-
hey you.
Hey you. Hey you.
Hey you.
Hey you. Shout out to the Chuck the security guard. Okay. So, and you're way too young for that one because I'm too young for that one. But I am going to just start off with the nicest note I got from Blair about you, where he says you have, and it's funny we talked about how many hearts do you have, because he wrote me and said, ask Andrea about her gigantic heart
Aw.
and how she manages to navigate in a world that is so cruel. Again, I'm not kidding. She has, and I hope this isn't like
No, I'm getting
enlarged heart
I'm getting
syndrome or something.
teary-eyed. It's nice.
She has a
Sweet.
gigantic heart that has seemed to only grow over the last 10 years that I've known her. And I've known her only really vaguely, but I like her very, very much. And I think she's an excellent person. you got a giant heart on you.
Wow.
Why does
That's
Blair
nice.
write that? Tell me what's going on.
I don't know. Maybe he sees my giant heart in my work, I guess, and what I am passionate about. I mean, it's hard to talk about yourself in this way. Ask me a more specific question.
Okay, the more specific questions. Do you help the unhoused in our community?
I mean, yes. So one of my newer projects or my newer callings, I guess, it's more of a calling. It started off as an idea for a project. So I've been I started off as a dancer. Then I went to theater school and I was an actor. Then I became a musician when my mom had her first of 3 cancers. I learned how to play the guitar and I taught myself how to heal through music. So I put out my first record out of the 8 in 2007 or something around there. Hit the road, bought a van, lived in it for 3 years. Fast forward, all this touring and all these great friendships and communities that I'm a part of in the music industry here, and the communities that I helped create as well. And then, I kind of revisited the film thing, but by accident, I applied for a Canada Arts Council grant, a music grant, to do a record, an ancestral record going back to my Italian roots. And I got to travel to southern Italy, just one region south of where both of my parents were born. I'm very, very connected to my heritage and my culture. I always have been. And when my grandmother passed 3 years ago, it was like this journey to heal and just to learn more about our folk music and dance and what that's all about. So I made this really wicked record with this kind of like electronic folk ancestral band from down there, these 6 beautiful guys who are like my brothers now. And I made a documentary of the making of the record, but then it became so much more.
Okay, so you've introduced the South.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to play this now.
I think we have ancestral memory. Memories of a specific place and time that maybe we didn't actually live or experience, but that we can recall. These stories live in our blood, in our bones. I met the band Kalashima in 2019. When I started this journey of uncovering the roots of Southern Italian music and dance, I knew I wanted them to be involved in some way. So we decided to make an album.
The tradition of playing, especially this instrument, the frame drums, is a woman tradition. The beauty of Southern Italy is that tradition has evolved. It became known as this dance of the tarantella.
Secondo questa leggenda, le persone che venivano pizzicate dal ragno dovevano essere curate attraverso la musica e la danza.
I'll do it later.
What the mythic spider spite means is something that is endlessly debated, but many women still believed that it was a music that cured.
Credo che il battito del tamburo, questa energia così forte, abbia il potere un po' di collegare tutto il mondo.
Sono davvero convinto che la musica sia la cura.
Noi cantiamo a modo nostro, noi cantiamo come l'abbiamo vissuta negli anni passati.
Cantiamo per passione.
Per passione.
Terra tua, terra mia, sai d'incanto e di magia. Terra tua, terra mia, io ti sento forte ancora.
La musica è capace di cambiare il nostro umore in meglio, in peggio, e quindi sì, in questo senso credo che la musica non possa essere una cura, ma è sicuramente la cura.
La cura, the cure. Music is the cure.
Okay, so you've introduced this out. This is a film.
This is a documentary film, a feature film, and it turned out a lot more beautiful than I could have imagined, and things just fell together. I met local elders that spoke on my doc. I met local dancers, professional dancers that are part of some of the biggest traditional dance companies, other musicians, and it was this huge journey. I remember getting on the plane at the Rome airport, the Fiumicino, to come back home after 2 weeks of just being in the South, and we shot every day and recorded the record simultaneously. Like, it was like full on, and I didn't sleep or eat or do anything except that for 2 weeks, and I just gushed. Like, I just exploded with emotion because it was the most intense project I've ever kind of carried myself. And yeah, it won the 45th annual Canadian Ethnic Media Award for Best Documentary.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. You know what? I was like, okay. I mean, maybe nobody else applied. It's fine. And it's presently being...
I'm pretty sure Stu Stone, my guest on Wednesday, applied for that award. He
applied the exact one, yeah. And it's over at Amazon Prime right now in Italy. Like it's being streamed there. But from that, I think what happened is it kind of gave me the confidence to go back to my film and theater background and kind of amalgamate all of these storytelling art forms that I love to express with. Because now it's just like, okay, I want to tell stories with music and film and dance. And
this is where I get confused. You're doing so many things so wonderfully, but I think, okay, Andrea is a singer-songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
And this story includes Jake Gold, and there's a whole bunch of other characters we're going to introduce, and I'm going to play music. But you're now a film director, so have you made like a pivot here in your professional life?
Yeah, like something's sinking in. A lot of my music friends and ex-bandmates and all that, everyone's like rooting for me. So I mean, you brought up the houseless crisis, or
that's right. That's
so
how
we
got
started
here.
there, yeah, and we kind of went backwards, and
it's like a Tarantino film.
It is. I mean, we're just jumping all over the place. Before I kind of wanted to jump into this new endeavor, I directed a few music videos for friends, my own. Won a few music video awards.
Can you name check some of the artists for whom you directed a music video?
Well, my dear friend Kristen Sweetland. That was the most recent one. I also co-directed a music video with Kinney Starr, who's featured in one of my tracks called Free. And we co-directed it with, at the time, our little 8-year-old friend, who's an Indigenous hoop dancer who's like become my niece. She's now 12, going on 13, and her name's Emily Ann Pidwanaquit. And we won the Canadian Independent Music Video Award that year. There it is. I love this song. We wrote this song with Hill Corcoitis, who...
who's in the basement Wednesday?
No, she's not. Really? That's amazing. Yeah. So she co-wrote this with
because I haven't even
Kenny.
Promoted that one yet.
Wow. There you go.
Visiting Wednesday.
We just performed this live 2 weeks ago at my festival for the first time ever.
What's your festival called?
Our Music Festival.
Multi-talented son of a gun over here. Okay, let me hear a little of Free.
Right.
Since you name-checked it.
I'm jumping all over the place.
I gotta be on my toes today.
Too many sisters have gone missing at night. Mothers and daughters, we've gotta make it right. We can't be free, 'cause we're not all free. We can't be free, 'cause we're not all free. There's violence in silence. We need our voices to come together and sing out loud now. It's the only way out, and the only way to put an end to suffering. When our brothers can't walk down the street without being left to bleed out. We can't be free, 'cause we're not all free. We can't be free, 'cause we're not all free. Well, I'm not just walking around town dragging ideas with me. Yeah, I got a bright mind and a few crowns. I'll share them with you, see. Well, power's more powerful, pass around. Ancestors louder when we stomp the ground. We can't be free, 'cause we're not all free.
Andrea, I was only going to play 30 seconds and fade it down, but I couldn't fade it down. I was digging it.
Thank you.
What should I know about Kinney Starr?
Oh, she's just the best. She's become a sister over the years. She was in the original 1997 Lilith Fair tour that Sarah McLachlan put on.
Funny, the 98 fair had 2 Hollies in it. I had one of them Friday. We were talking about the 98 Lilith Fair because Holly McNarland was on the bill and Holly Cole, who was sitting right there.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Shout out to Lilith Fair.
Holly McNarland was my neighbor a few years ago. We lived in
Then I'm going to ask you a question. Was one of your neighbors Patrick Pentland from Sloan?
Possibly.
Because he sat here last week, I guess it was, and said that Holly McNarland was his neighbor.
Must be. We all live in kind of like the West End of Toronto, not too far from here,
Okay, well, this is where the artists are all hanging out, all the rock stars.
Yeah.
Holly, who I chatted with after the Holly Cole, I found her on Facebook, we chatted, has zero interest in talking about her music career.
Why? What's she talking about? Her coffee shop?
Not talking about anything. I invited her over to talk about like life, and she didn't want to talk about music anymore. Like she seemed lovely, but she's advanced beyond that chapter in her life.
She's over it. I get it.
Been there, done that. Bought the
what?
T-shirt.
Yeah, it's a hard road. It's not an easy road.
So I want to find out about working with the unhoused people.
Yes.
Because and I don't mind this. I actually like let's go at it this meandering, tangenty way where I play songs related to words that you drop.
Oh my gosh, this is
all
fun.
good with that. But I'm pausing you because I realize I'm going to forget to do this. So I teased you by telling you somebody who saw you today is on the live stream, live.torontomike.com. I've been educated that he did not actually see you today, but he has seen you. And I got a tip. Like I said, Blair Packham sent me many wonderful notes about you. And one is about the fact that you teach for the TDSB.
Yes, I teach for actually both Toronto school boards. I have been a professional substitute high school teacher for the last 21 years. I got my degree. I knew, because I went to theater school, like I said, but I knew that I wanted to make art because I've been making art since I was like 3. Like I started dancing on stage when I was 3. So fast forward, did the good Italian girl thing, got my 2 degrees at university at York. And then I just, oh shoot.
No, it's okay. It's empty. They're all empty.
Thank goodness. It has saved me. Like when I got off the road, because I was living in my van, I was living on tour.
You lived in your van for 3 years.
Yes, and it was great.
I took a note to get back to that.
At this age, I don't think I'm going to sleep in my van anymore. My back hurts. I want a shower. I want a nice comfy bed. So I'm so glad I did it when I did it. But so now being home is equally as important as hitting the road and playing some really great shows. I just kind of like to pick and choose what those shows are, what my tours, like I like to sort of design what hitting the road looks like. Whereas before I would just hit the road and take anything that came my way and just built, I was a road dog. So I needed to learn. I needed to get my lessons.
You're living a cool life.
It was a cool, you know what, I would
Can I
never
live precariously through you?
Yes. I mean, it's not as exciting now. Now it's just work. So speaking of work, this documentary, my new documentary, I'm a big heart like Blair's, claims I am. He's not.
By the way,
wrong.
it turns out that the cows have 4 stomachs, not hearts. So I'm not going to be teaching anyone in any board.
Okay.
Because I'll miseducate you.
Yes, please don't become a high
and
school
don't confuse
teacher.
A stomach with a heart.
Oh my goodness. You're probably, anyways, I was going to take a jab at some teachers, but I'm not going to. I'm going to be a good girl. I'm going to be a good girl here. So I couldn't like walk outside anymore. This is when it changed for me. My Italian band from the doc, they, we've been doing some of the major Canadian music festivals each summer, and this will be the 3rd summer that they come. And last summer when they came, the number of tents that popped up just in the areas that we were driving by to set up for shows and stuff, it grew substantially. And I mean, we notice it living here, but the guys having come just the year before, only once to Toronto before, they noticed it. And they said to me, and the way that they phrased it really hit home. They said, how do you let your neighbors live like this? Like, how do you allow your community members to live in parks and in tents, especially with how cold it gets here, because they have no clue, right? From southern Italy. And when they put it that way, I was just like, it's true. It's these are our they could be our brothers, they could be our sisters, they could be any one of our family members. And the mentality there culturally is a little bit different. Like, you take care of your people, you don't really see anything like this. like the houseless crisis, the homeless crisis in this city and in Canada in general. I'm not sure about the States. I never want to go there again, but we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about anything you want, but if I could interject on the because the unhoused epidemic we have, and that I recently recorded in late February. I had a gentleman over named Bruce Davis, and his job is to communicate with the neighborhood about the proposed shelter at 66 3rd Street. And there are many shelters. They've been proposed, and this particular shelter is supposed to open in 2028, and they're just doing consultations with the community on what you can expect, et cetera, et cetera. And as you can imagine, there's some members of the community that feel it should go somewhere else, as you can imagine. Yeah. So then I had a just a conversation with Bruce about like, what is it? Why is it going there? Why do we need this, et cetera, et cetera? So I'm just here to tell people that's episode 1638. But you're of course 100% right that we lack sufficient shelter space for our unhoused citizens.
Well, I'm going to go beyond that because I actually, yes, that's true. But it's like the shelter system, now that I've been out on the streets and like basically being on the front lines, working with these people, befriending them, growing quite close to some of them, I'm privy to a lot of like behind the scenes information and experiences, and people have no idea. Like I'm not an expert on it. I'm not claiming to be, but I know a lot more than I did when I started 4 months ago. When I just was like handing out meals at the back of a beautiful woman's car, Maria. She was the first outreach worker that I kind of collaborated with. And since then it's been more, and I go out on my own and I do, my own things. Cause I thought, okay, how could I contribute to this? And which, is where the documentary came in. I'm like, I'm going to do a grassroots documentary. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to build these trusting relationships. And the shelter situation, it's not even that we don't have enough of them. Yes, sure. The shelters, a lot of my houseless friends don't want to go to shelters. There's constant violence. They get thieved of everything they own, which is not a lot to begin with. Okay. There's, I'm not going to be completely vulgar, but you can imagine the women that go in there, they're up against, like, it's brutal.
They feel safer in our parks.
They feel safer in their own tents. They feel more autonomous in their tents, even though they're freezing their butts off, right? So, okay. They're just, I could talk about this. This is a whole other episode because I have so many thoughts and feelings, and like, I don't have any quick fixes. I think that this entire system of ours needs to just regenerate itself in a new way and actually put the care of our most vulnerable. And this is not even like, we're not talking left wing, right wing. I'm not even talking about politics. I'm saying your fellow human being is out there lying in their own, can you swear on this show?
Yep.
Lying in their own shit. Okay. Their walker's been stolen. They're elderly. They're the same age as my mother, your mother. And they can't walk. They can't get food from themselves. They can't even change their clothes covered in poop. And what are they going to do? They need our help. Their situation is colored with grief. I'm going to tell you that many of the interviews I've had so far, the common thread that I have found, it's not, of course, I'm not painting this black and white picture, but every single person that has been interviewed for my documentary has either broken down or come out to me about their childhood abuse, whether that was sexual or physical. And it's always in the story. And so what I'm starting to do is I'm starting to see these grown people that people like spit at or beat up on the streets. Like we just had a houseless man, Mario Ferreira, die on a park bench 2 days ago.
Yeah, U of T, yeah.
Yep. And, the man that killed him was also in and out of the shelter system, another houseless man. This for me, and I made a comment on a post and everyone, all the right wings are attacking me. And it's just like, the saddest part about this for me is, yes, a man has died, potentially innocent man has died unprovoked. But on the flip side, that man that beat him to death, he fell between the cracks. He obviously struggles with mental illness. He lives a life on the streets. And when you live a life on the streets, you fall in between the cracks. It's like you're less than human. Why? Like I look at these people and I'm like, I picture my mom, I picture my dad, I picture my ex-boyfriend. You know, I had a childhood boyfriend that's like on the street now. Like I feel that it could happen to any of us. And when you kind of put yourself in other people's shoes, then you start to say, hey, we can actually help each other. Because if I'm down and out one day, I want the goodness of humanity to reach out to me and lend a hand.
So I'm going to quote Andrew Ward, who on the live stream says, "You're a living saint doing this work. Bless you." So he writes, "Bless her." I'm saying, "Bless you." I'm with you. I don't know where the lack of empathy comes from, because that is my son, that's my brother, that's my father. I mean, who hasn't been touched by mental illness, addiction?
Exactly. Yeah. And this is another thing. There's just this strange judgment that happens with like mental illness and addiction. There's still the stigma against anything to do with mental illness. We do not have a mentally healthy society in terms of the way we think about mental health and mental illness. But addiction, it's like, you'll hear some of the NIMBYs say, well, I work hard for my money and all of my cars and blah, blah, blah. This is not even the argument. You're not even on the right planet to start the conversation. Like, when these adults were children, and they were taught not to trust anybody because maybe their most supposedly trusting people in their lives, took them down this wrong path. When you don't have the tools, when you are dealt with, ancestral trauma plus real life childhood trauma and all of that. Yes, if you have a strong spirit and you meet a great teacher or a great uncle or a great somebody, yes, you can get through. Sure. I'm not saying that it's impossible. I know that people have done it, and kudos to those people. But for the majority of the people, okay, that have dealt with poverty, racism, sexism, abuse, all of that, it's like, hey, yeah, just pick yourself up. Go work hard for your money. It's not that simple. They're broken people. You have to look at them like they're tiny children. Would you treat a child that way if it didn't have the means to survive and basically get their basic human needs met? No, you wouldn't. So you have to start thinking of these adults and caring for them in the loving way that we hope society cares for its children.
Andrea, 100%. And I won't use names. I used it in the Bruce Davis episode of guests who've come on who basically, they may live with their sister now, or somebody close to them took them in. And if not for having this support of a family member willing to take them in, they would be in our shelter system or living in a tent. Mm-hmm. And
not everyone's as fortunate as we are to have great family members. A lot of people have broken families, or actually their family is probably the catalyst or the problem that made them run to the streets. Who knows, right? And it's like, how do we handle grief? How do we handle trauma? You know what? I understand what self-medication is all about, okay? And, I luckily don't have that much of an addictive personality that I could, get myself out of it. During COVID, I probably drank way too many bottles of wine and tried to like bury my pain there. But, sure. I have a pretty good handle on that stuff, except I love jelly beans and candy and chips. Like, that's my weakness, I think. But what I'm saying is that, like, if your pain is so deep and your tools to manage that pain are not available to you because you never had access to any of them and you didn't learn how, of course you're going to turn to drugs and alcohol. You're not going to turn to God anymore because God has failed you the whole way, right? So,
right. And just today I was listening to CBC radio, and they're talking to a gentleman. The safe injection site is closing. Mm-hmm. And he's talking about how, like, there's a series of things, but it starts with saving the life. And then then it begins this healthcare treatment for addicted peoples in our community. But
it's saving the life, and then having safe housing for them to actually go through their journey of being saved and trying to heal, right? What are you going to do? Heal in a tent where drugs are everywhere and you're going to get slashed so that, somebody can get their
or
next
maybe
hit of crack?
You're reusing a needle or something, a dirty needle, and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, okay, goodness gracious. Andrea, we could do a whole episode about this.
We really could.
But Blair warned me that you had a gigantic heart. So I've been warned. I was sufficiently. So, and again,
I'm also an angry Italian. So mix the giant heart with the angry Italian and like the passionate Italian. And I think sometimes I get loud and in trouble. But the point is I'm trying to do the little bit I can as a storyteller to, I think, shine a light on these people that are actually living out on the street and not just, we could talk about policy, we could talk about government and all of that. It's not doing anything. All we're doing is talking in circles. So how about maybe trying to shine a light and access other people's little hearts or medium hearts or whatever hearts they have to open up a little bit more so that we can maybe shift as a community. Like, let's start with our own city. That's all that we can do.
Okay. And before, again, I've never teased anything more in my life, but I'm going to reveal the name of the person on the live stream who has seen you in your place of work in the TDSB school system as a substitute teacher.
Yes.
Not a supply teacher, right? Because when I was growing up, we called them supply teachers.
We did too.
But now we call them substitute teachers.
Well, no, you actually call them an occasional teacher. So I'm an OT.
OT. But what happened to supply? Like, was that just a bad term from the get-go? Why did we call these people supply teachers?
I don't know. It doesn't even make sense.
No, but that's what we call them. And also, my kid will have a PD day. It's a professional development day, but when I was growing up, it was a PA day.
Same.
Was there another vote I missed?
I wonder what the A stood for back then. Professional
activity?
Oh, yes, you're probably right. There we go. So now it's like, okay, the teachers use that day to develop their skills. No more activities. It's actually just boring.
See, that makes sense too. But it's wild we called them supply teachers. Like, that's a terrible name. Like, it should have always been, at least, I mean, you said now it's occasional teacher.
Yeah.
But substitute teacher is, because I'm thinking of Lisa's Substitute, a fantastic Simpsons episode. Do you remember when Mrs. Hoover thought she had, you don't speak Simpsons. Okay.
No, you know what?
She thought she had Lyme's disease. And then they brought in the Sam Ettick, who was Dustin Hoffman, actually. He played the supply teacher. Supply teacher. I did it again because I grew up, it was supply teacher.
Same.
Substitute
I'm not judging
teacher.
you.
Lisa Substitute. Fantastic episode of The Simpsons. My guest does not speak Simpsons. This conversation's over.
I have to say, when I was a kid, I watched, Facts of Life,
so did
Webster, Silver Spoons, Alf. What else was good? Different Strokes.
Growing Pains.
Growing Pains for sure.
Who was the boss, by the way? Who was the boss? It was definitely Angela Bauer, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
But those shows were like we had great shows growing up. And then I became a dancer. I danced 4 or 5 nights a week. I never watched TV again. And to this day, I have not owned a TV set probably for 25 years.
So you're not watching White Lotus?
I am on my
So how do you define
computer.
TV? Okay, so you just replaced the screen and you're calling that.
No, I only replaced the screen in the last 2 years. Okay. I only started watching shows in the last two.
I would argue if you're telling people you don't own a TV, it should be inferred you're not up to date with the White Lotus, which literally dropped an episode last night.
You know what? I didn't watch the new Thailand one, but of course I watched the one in Sicily because
you're Italian.
It's my mother country.
That was good. Well, and it had Christopher from The Sopranos in it.
It did. And also the young actress that played the prostitute, I actually have been following her career because I got hooked on a Netflix series maybe a year ago, an Italian Netflix series called Luna Park, where she's this young sort of drifter who grows up in the Carney. And I love the whole setup, and it's just really magical.
Andrea, for a woman who just bragged about not owning a TV, you're watching a lot of television.
Now I am. See, it's because I'm old.
Come on, what's wrong with you? Okay, so I want to shout out, if I don't get to them, I didn't get to it. Okay. Midtown Gord. I don't even know if you know this name, Midtown Gord. Maybe he goes by a different name professionally, but Midtown Gord says hello to you.
Hi, Gord. Is this Gord from the school that I left early today? Oh, I'm not going to reveal our place of work, Gord.
That's top secret.
I did see. Wait.
Midtown Gord. He has a beard.
I know, Gord.
And he loves his Lee Aaron, for example. He's a big. So today I said, Gilmore's going to come over, and he said, this makes me very, very happy. Like this Midtown Gord is ecstatic that.
Do you know that I opened Gord for Lee Aaron once in Timmins, Ontario?
That's a big deal. Lee Aaron. You know Lee Aaron's a Karen? Lee Aaron is a fake name. The band's name was Lee Aaron. Sort of like Alice Cooper. Like the band was named Lee Aaron and she took on the name. Yeah, well, her name is Karen.
Really?
Yeah, I think she's from Brampton and her name is Karen. Yeah.
Oh. I called her Lee.
Well, you can call her. I'm sure everyone calls her Lee. I don't think she'd probably think it was weird if you called her Karen.
Imagine Madonna's name is not really Madonna.
It is, though. I checked. I need to know who's changing their name, okay? Yeah. But Madonna Ciccone.
Or changing their identity. Like, we won't.
Madonna was
we won't mention any.
That's a lot of people. Let them stay anonymous. But Midtown Gore, not his real name. Midtown's not his real name. But okay, Madonna, quick fun fact I dropped on toast. How hit-laden do you have to be? How prolific with hit-making do you have to be to release a greatest hits and leave Billboard Hot 100 #1 songs off of your greatest hits?
Is that what she did?
Who's that girl? Went to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and she did not put it on the Immaculate Collection.
Oh my gosh, I love that it's called the Immaculate Collection.
Yeah.
That's the best.
That's the name of the Madonna greatest hits. I want to say 95 or so she drops this thing. I don't know what's got.
I loved Madonna when I was a kid.
She had too many hits, and she's like, oh, I don't care about that #1 hit. I'll leave that off.
Leave that off. I mean, maybe there wasn't enough room for it.
You make room for your #1s, but she
album.
obviously preferred other songs to that #1. Who's That Girl?
Wow.
Which is a better song than a movie. I don't know if you've seen Who's That Girl. Okay.
No, I haven't.
I got to get to a song because I want to cover a part of your career that we haven't really touched on yet, if that's okay with you. But this song has a slow burn off the top. I feel I should talk it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you, or should I just be quiet and listen?
This is an old song.
Yeah.
This is
is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I don't want to get an evil eye over there. So you're okay with older songs.
What song are you playing?
I want you to go to recyclemyelectronics.ca later today, Andrea, because if you have old cables, old electronics, don't throw them out. Old televisions, old screens. I'm trampling on your lyrics.
Baby on the ground, I will not refuse you. I won't make a sound. Put your hands upon me. I'll slip off my dress.
Oh, this is a rated R song.
Good. I like rated R songs.
Lend me your desire, take away my pain. I am liquid fire, it's you that lit the flame. I'm burning up, burning up, burning up. I'm burning up, burning up. Burning up, burning up. Surrender to the shadows, melt into the night. Hold me like you need me till the morning light. Leave your traces on me.
I haven't heard this song in years.
Okay, so one observation is there's two voices in that mix here. So let us introduce to the listenership, if they don't already know, Scarlett Jane. Tell us who is with you in Scarlett Jane.
My partner, my bandmate was Cindy, and we released 2 records together. I'm trying to think of the years. It was like 2013, 12 maybe. Till 2016, we were active and we toured a lot. We played a lot of shows.
Well, I have a nice note from Mike from K-Dub, who I put on Blue Sky. You were dropping by, and he wrote me, I have been a fan of Andrea's music since seeing her play with her group Scarlett Jane one beautiful summer night. I am sure you will ask her whether there might be any more collaboration with Cindy under the Scarlett Jane name or otherwise. So what would you say to Mike K-Dub, who wants to know if there will be more Scarlett Jane at some point?
I don't believe so. I think that artists evolve and, relationships ebb and flow. And I think that we had a really solid run and we worked really, really hard together and we worked really well together. And we put out some really great music and some cool videos that we usually made ourselves. We were pretty DIY, and then Jake Gold came in and managed us for a bit. Jake Gold, who's also the manager of the Tragically Hip. And so, we got a lot of perks with having him as our manager. And, he was tough and he worked hard for us, for sure. So he opened a lot of doors. And actually this song it didn't make it in the final cut, but we saw the preview for David Cronenberg's film that one year when this album came out, and he used this song and he was contemplating using it for his new film, and he didn't. But in that, I actually met his daughter, Caitlin Cronenberg.
Photographer.
Well, she's also a director now.
Also a director.
Yes, and she's directed a few of my music videos, and I actually played one of her art gallery exhibits with my Leonard Cohen record a few years later. So, but yes, no, I think that Scarlett Jane, if you love the music, keep listening to it. We love that you are still supportive of it. But I think it's been 10 years since we've been a band. Yeah.
How did you end up working with Jay Gould? Like, did he see you and say, I like the cut of your jib? Is that an exact quote? How did you end up with Jay Gould?
You know what?
He's also an FOTM, been here a couple times.
I don't remember, but I have a vague recollection that he might have reached out to me on Facebook. Remember the good old Facebook times? I don't even think Jake hasn't been on the FaceTime in a while. But I think that's what it was. Maybe he saw a tour that we put together. And I think that's how he reached out. I mean, it's also this is more than 10 years now. This is 16, 17 years ago. That's a long time ago. So it's hard to remember how things fell into place. You just have to look back and recognize that everything happened the way that it needed to and should have. And you are where you're at. And,
you're in a good place.
Yeah, very good
creatively,
place.
artistically.
Very good.
I can tell you're glowing.
Yeah, I feel like it's nice. It's tough to be in a band. I mean, what does Richard...
Even when it's a duo.
Oh, for sure. I mean, two things are inevitable in life. You have to pay your taxes and your band will break up. That's just... I think Richard Flohill, my first publicist of all time...
He's been over here.
Of course he has. I tap danced at his 90th birthday this year. He's a legend. He's the one that gave me that quote. And it's it happens. It's intense to be a musician. You're traveling, you're not getting sleep, you're busting your ass, you're hustling. And, as artists, of course, we're not, society doesn't treat its artists the best, does it? Right? We have to really struggle for all the things that we get, and people don't see the behind the scenes.
Well, sometimes you have to live in a car.
Oh, yeah, I did that. I mean, we've slept in very precarious situations, but... it was such an adventure. It has been an adventure. It will continue to be an adventure. I think at this age, though, I'm in my 40s, and I never tell anyone, but I just did. So here we go. It's just you get to carve the life that you want, that you feel safe and good about, and you get to surround yourself with other artists and people that are speaking either a same language as you at the time, or maybe a completely opposite language that you really can learn from. And so I'm about that at this point.
Well, Hall & Oates don't talk to each other anymore. Do you know this?
No.
And Simon and Garfunkel aren't friendly either.
Really? That's okay. That one's a shock. I'm
full of shocks here. I almost called you Scarlett.
It was the turtleneck.
Scarlett, the way they call
people.
Karen,
people used to be like, which one's Scarlett? Are you Scarlett? Or there's no Scarlett.
By the way, Midtown Gore, the biggest Lee Aaron fan I've ever known, lets me know in the comments of the live stream that her name is Karen Greening. So that is the name of Lee Aaron, Karen Greening.
I'm glad that they went with the Lee Aaron.
Well, Lee Aaron was the band.
It's easier to say.
Shout out to Alice Cooper. Okay. Who's a Vincent?
Is he Vincent?
Vincent Fernier.
Oh my gosh, you know so much. Look at all
this
knowledge.
Do you golf?
No, but my dad is an avid golfer. He loves golfing.
Hey.
Yeah.
Anne Marie golfs. I'm just throwing it out there. And you know who else golfs? I mentioned Gil Moore's coming over because I just booked that today. Gil Moore's a big-time golfer. He's one of those, him and Tom Cochran. Did you watch the Tragically Hip documentary on Prime?
I did. My ex-boyfriend's in it, Tom Wilson.
Yeah, we're gonna get Tom. Don't worry, I got a Tom. Yeah, Tom Wilson. That's a mind blow, I think, unto itself. But I did pull a Tom Wilson thing I'm gonna ask you about later. Tom Wilson loves his palma pasta lasagna.
Does he? Oh, he's eating it.
No joke. Oh yeah, he's been over a few times.
Oh, great.
And he he comes for the lasagna. I don't think he wants to necessarily talk to me. All right, now I've got so many questions, Andrea. How much time do you have?
I mean, I'm here, right?
You're stuck. You're my prisoner here.
Is there a glass of wine somewhere? No, I'm just joking.
No, I got beer though, but you don't drink beer. I have to figure that out.
I should have brought some water.
Well, I won't take long. I'll promise I'll keep this to 4 hours. Is that okay?
That's good. That's good.
I'll be falling asleep.
As long as I get my beauty rest. Just joking.
Well, you're fine in that department. Okay. I was going to, so the documentary, a little surprising to us Canadian rock fans, is to see really how close the Hip came to breaking up. Because you mentioned how difficult it is for a band. And we always think, these guys meet in high school in Kingston, and then they're together till Gord passes away.
Yeah.
The doc makes it pretty clear during the Bob Rock era, as I'm now calling it, that things were they were on the verge of a breakup themselves. So just to reiterate your point there, that it's tough for a band to stay together.
Well, think about how many things you have to negotiate, like your emotional lives, how they like, kind of clash with one another's. Then there's like the finances, there's the routing, the touring, the who's sick, who's taking over, who's picking up the slack. Like there's so much that goes into it. It's beyond family, beyond relationship. It's like all these levels of dependency and responsibility, and it's a challenge. Like I love touring solo, I will say. I do love it, but it gets lonely. That's the flip side of it. But when you're touring solo, you're in your car, you're on a train, whatever. You can go wherever you want, right? Wherever your heart calls you. There's like no negotiating. And I think after years of negotiating, and not only in that band, but like before that, I was living in my van, but I was living in my van with, I guess he was my boyfriend at the time. He was my one-man band. And, there's that too. And who did the driving, and who's, staying up for 12 hours, getting us to Kenora from Alberta because we have to make it to the show. Like it's a lot. It's not your regular day job. Hey, let's clock in at 9 and go home at 5 and complain to the wife, right? There's a lot that goes into it. And then of course, your fans and the promoters and everything, that you want to make sure that you're spending some time with them, but it gets exhausting after you've driven all day, right? Yeah. You've flown in, then you've driven, and you're just wiped out because you've given the best you can on stage. Then there's also that nightlife part of it. And I started in the end of it, I started like hiding upstairs or in a green room. I was like, okay, I'm really tired.
Have you ever seen the epic Canadian film by Bruce McDonald, Hardcore Logo?
I saw it a million years ago. Actually, Bruce McDonald, I always see. He used to come by, because I used to work at the Orbit Room for 5 years. And he used to come by there all the time and live in that area. And I actually just ran into him a month ago at a coffee shop on Queen Street. And he always wears his quintessential kind of straw cowboy hat. But you know what? I don't recall a Hardcore Logo, but I did watch it.
Well, yes. I've never been a musician, but that's like when I think about Canadian rock bands, in their car touring this vast country of ours, this wonderful sovereign nation of ours. Mm-hmm. Proudly independent, fiercely independent, if you will. I should put that on CNN.
Fiercely independent.
You want to use that? Fiercely independent.
Oh, I like this song a lot. This is this was a huge record for me and moment in my life for sure.
You're my stroke, my heart attack. You're my cry, you curse my dreams. You're the stitch in all my seams, down my throat and up my spine, floating in my glass of wine. Still keep coming back for more. I can't escape you. It's your way, not my way. You're here, you're everywhere.
Now, this is an audio presentation, but this is a great video too, actually.
Thank you.
Tell me about this. You said it's a big moment for you. Why?
Oh, this record, this whole time in my life. So this was, well, first of all, that's a Michael Timmins production from the Cowboy Junkies. I miss him actually so much. He's been on my mind lately. He produced 2 of my records. I met him through Tom. So I was dating Tom Wilson at the time. We had a great romance for almost 2 years. And, I won't go into too many details, but we split up. And
I need all the details about you and Tom.
How about this? I was too. We probably met. We were probably soulmates, but met in the wrong lifetime. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, he was 21 years older than me, right? So there was quite an age difference.
I would have guessed higher.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. Thank you. You're being complimentary to me. But yeah, there was just an age difference in just a different phase of our life, and I get that so much now, and I did after a year of mourning it or whatever. But this record came out of that falling apart, and then my band breaking up. So here I am, like all alone. And Tom and I did a lot of music together. We co-wrote not this song, but a few songs on this record, on his Beautiful Scars record. I sang on that record. We had already split up before I did this one, so I got Andy Mays to sing on my record instead. He's amazing. He's one of my... Oh, there it is. Well, that's not Beautiful Scars, though.
But it's the only Tom Wilson I have in the studio right now.
Yeah.
So.
I know those paintings well. I used to have a huge one that... Oh, this is going to fall again. That hung on my wall. But
I hung it on my wall.
Yeah, it was... So this was the double record I did. That was like... It was the most healing I've ever felt, I think, through music. I did a kitchen table version of the 10 songs, and then I did a full band version with Michael Timmons. My friend Faye Blaze did the solo acoustic version, kind of like that Lucinda Williams kitchen table vibe.
Sure.
Because I wanted to offer like the raw song, just the voice and my baritone guitar. And I love these songs. I still play a lot of them in my live sets. And this was like my therapy. This was my drug. This got me through what I needed to get through. Because it was interesting because I had never kind of stood on my own. And it was such an empowering moment to claim my sound. Like, that's when I got my Dan Electro baritone, and I haven't stopped playing it since this record. Actually, I started writing the songs on Tom's Dan Electro baritone that was, growing yellow and hanging on his wall in the living room. And I was like, what is this? I've never played a type of guitar like this before. And I fell in love with the low strings, right? And the tone of it. And it just goes really well with the way that I write songs. I play with my thumb. So it's like somewhere between a bass and a guitar. Aww.
Because Tom knows I love this song.
Yeah.
Live out of the suitcase in the
Wait, is this our live recording of it?
Washing the restroom.
Where we were at the cottage. I love this song too.
From the Taco Bell, eating parking lots.
Do you know who he co-wrote it with?
Sarah McLachlan?
No, actually, although that's her. She does your part,
does my
which
part,
you're about to do.
Duck out of the
Murray McLachlan, unrelated.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, Denise Donlan's husband.
Oh my gosh, you know everything.
I don't know everything. I just know like the 10 things I've told you. That's it.
Just the 10.
I have no further information.
You just repeat the same.
Hug my sleeping bag real tight.
Oh God, I don't know what to expect here.
I live in a car that doesn't go nowhere. It's one short step to a shopping cart in a twilight world that has no heart.
Great line.
I watch the sun go down from a burned out car.
Kind of fitting with what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Always loved. I think it's on Birthday Boy. What's it? Anyways, it's a song I've always loved. I'd see the video on Much Music, of course, Sarah McLachlan and Tom Wilson. But yeah, he got shit-faced drunk with Murray McLachlan one night, and they wrote this thing. And then,
shocking.
Yeah, and there's a Murray version out. Like if you go to YouTube, you can find the Murray McLachlan version. But Murray doesn't have these pipes, right? That Tom has here. So are you still friendly with Tom Wilson?
Yes, I actually texted him today. I mean, we don't talk often anymore.
Can you tell Tom you're talking to Toronto Mike, and we can find out what he said? He came to a event at Palma's Kitchen.
Hi, Tom. No, you know what? The last time he actually, we haven't touched base in a while in a conversation over the phone, but we say hi through people. We'll text. He called me when my grandma died. He checks in. We check in once in a while, but I mean, he has a beautiful, he found a beautiful partner right after me, which is like, I think she's a sunshine in his life. And, and I moved on and I, dated my Italian boyfriend and,
Is that Tom right there? I saw it light up. Is that Tom?
Let me see. No, I don't think so.
I heard you're on Toronto Mike.
Imagine. No. Actually, that's nobody. It's just like...
We don't have time for him.
The news and the socials and all of the depressing things going on in the world.
Did you see his musical about Beautiful Scars?
No, I wanted to go with my mom, but I couldn't make it. There was like one day we could have gone, and I just didn't go. Okay, but I heard it was great. Lots of friends went.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when Dave Hodge comes to your event, it's a big deal.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
So, okay.
No. Yeah, I love that, this like the whole thing about like his story, his identity. We were going through that, like he was going through that in our relationship. So, I
was going to ask you what years we're talking about.
Well, I'm like, I was like, as he calls me in his book, the pushy Italian girlfriend who kept on nagging him to tell Janie that he knew that she was his mom. So that's kind of what happened. Like it was, I don't know if it was his 50th birthday. I forget how many years ago. It was a big birthday.
Yeah.
A monumental one. And we had a barbecue with the family in the backyard. And then he drove her home. And that's when like they had the conversation. And, you know, from that moment, I mean, that's like heavy duty, right? Like your entire life is flipped
he
upside
thought he
down.
was a big sweaty Irishman.
Yeah.
And he finds out he's a big sweaty Mohawk man.
A big puffy Irishman, he says.
Yeah, a big puffy Irishman.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm proud of him. I love that he's using his art and his voice to continue to like claim and be strong, like strongly claim his identity. And, you know, we already kind of saw his identity come out through his work and through his paintings and through his voice and all of that. But now it's just, you know, I'm sure that he's more at ease with it, or I hope that he is anyway.
What a life you've lived. I can't believe you're only in your 40s. You've had such a life.
Yeah, I'm going to be 45. It's a big year. I'm going to go to Italy for my birthday.
Okay, what part of Italy?
I'm going to go to the south. I'm going to go to the north as well.
You made a film about it. You got to go to the
Yeah,
south.
I'm going to visit family. I was asked to adjudicate a film festival near my hometown, and they're going to screen my 2 new shorts, my short films. So I'm going to go there, do the red carpet. It's going to be fun. The Italian band, they might come up to my hometown to play a big feast, like a big festival. And I'm going to actually go up and visit my ex-boyfriend that came after Tom, who lives in Venice now. We're still friends, so go hang out with him and his friends.
Get in a gondola with that guy.
Well, it's not that kind of vibe anymore. He's more like my brother now. But yes, we can get in.
You can still get in a gondola with them.
Yeah,
if
for
he's
sure.
your brother. Now, okay, so you referenced our music festival. Can you tell me what that is? We kind of let it go really quickly, but
so our music festival. I don't know. I guess me and my friends during COVID, we had this great group of check-ins. Like Madison Violet was on it, Sarah McDougall, Sarah Slean, Hill was on it, Hill Kirkordis, Amanda Rio. I mean,
do you have a message for Hill? Like
Hi,
you
Hill.
could say it now, and I'll cut it out.
I want to tell her that I'm so proud of her and she's kicking ass, and I love the soccer theme that she did for FIFA.
And now,
Did you
Mike,
hear
I
that?
want you to play that theme. Yeah, I heard it. I actually heard it on the radio.
Cool.
After I booked Hill, I heard it on the radio, believe it or not. And then it all came together in this perfect storm here.
She's just so brilliant. And I started watching Hill when she was 19. She was underage on stage. When I worked at the Orbit Room, she would come to the Orbit Room with Tara Sloan. They were good friends. Tara's a good friend of mine too. We're both Virgos.
Okay.
And I remember seeing little baby Hill killing it, just slaying on her guitar, probably 18 years old, maybe 17. At the El Macombo, the old El Macombo, when the stage was risen and you just walked into that room.
Pre-Weckerly.
Yeah, exactly. And gosh, she was so good. She's so talented, but you know, she's a mastermind, and I love that she's getting the accolades that she deserves, and especially as a woman, you know, in tech, like as a producer, as an engineer, she's paving the way for so many other young female and non-binary people. It's like incredible what she's doing, and so what a trailblazer. Tell her that I love her. She still has to invite me over to her house with her dog and Abby so that we can have some, I don't know, vino. She can cook me something Greek. We always talk about our culture. We're big on our cultures.
Well, she's probably going to have a palma pasta lasagna. So, okay.
Okay. Well, maybe she can serve me
Tara
the palma
Sloan.
pasta.
So you're friendly of Tara Sloan, you said?
Yes.
Because she's been over a couple of times too. And I saw her on, like I was watching, I think I was at my mom's house for a swim because my mom's going to pool in her. I need to give you all the details, okay?
Okay.
Since we're good friends here. And she has just CP24 runs on a continuous loop in that home. Like it's like, I never see CP24 and I come over and it's just going. And they're showing scenes from this elbows up at Nathan Phillips Square.
I saw
saw Tara Sloan was there.
Tara and Shakura Saida, who I just had a Women's Day event. She was one of my guests. So let's segue back to the Our Music Festival. This is perfect because the event happened after Our Music Festival. So I was, you know, we this group of friends online, we're just sharing what it's like to be female and non-binary artists during COVID. It was really like a support group of all these fascinating, incredible musicians. And we were there for each other, and it ran for like a couple of years online on Zoom during COVID. And, you know, songwriting collaborations came out of that. And here we are kind of still years later, still facing and trying to address this gender disparity issue that still exists, let's be honest. I mean, the patriarchy is not dead. And you know, I've been a touring musician for 20 years, and you're seeing slight differences, but not enough, right? So I thought I would start a little music festival in Toronto that would, you know, celebrate and showcase female and gender diverse headliners only. Doesn't mean it's for only female and gender diverse fans. We could have used a lot more male fans in the crowd this year, gentlemen out there. Because I feel like there are voices that are not being heard as much, and they deserve an amazing audience to cheer them on and to listen to the work that they're putting out, because it's well deserved.
How much of this was influenced by Sarah McLachlan, who just came up because it's her voice on Burned Out Car, and Lilith Fair that we talked about earlier?
Oh, for sure. I mean, she's the one that paved the way for everybody. She was the first one to do it. And years later, with some of the friends and colleagues I had in the music industry in Toronto, we ran this thing called Ladies in Waiting, and it would happen every Monday night at Not My Dog, which is now closed down in Queen West in Parkdale. And we would pack the tiny little joint. It felt like just this packed little New York house or something. And all of the women would get up and play on each other's songs, bass and drums and harmonies. And it was like an amazing time that we put together 2 album compilations. We gathered some female artists from across the country, and we threw a big event at Lula Lounge, a couple of big events, and so that was like the seeds planted. And then I went on the road and I got busy, and now, because I like to be home a little bit more, and because I do trust my voice and my access to creating community, like I know that I feel that people trust me, and I trust myself more to be able to bring the right people together, the good people together that want to fight the good fight. I started the festival last year, and that last year was a huge success, and we filled Hughes Room, the new Hughes Room at the time. This year,
shout out to Jane Harbury.
Yes. Hello, Jane. We love you. I do love Jane. And then this year I wanted to expand because, it was such a great turnout. And this year we held it at the Great Hall, which is a gorgeous venue, but the numbers, the ticket sales were not there. And my heart broke for these artists because they deserved 480 people in the crowd, So I am not going to give up, because it was their moments and were just magical. The people that were there, they just they couldn't believe that so many people missed an incredible evening of music, and so many people became new fans to a lot of these artists that they had never heard of. Kenny Starr played. We did our free song live with Emily Ann on hoop dancing. It was just really fun to do that together for the first time. I had Chris Dirksen play. Chris is a Cree cellist who I think Carnegie Hall, she did her debut recently. She plays with all the orchestras and she's incredible. And I've been watching her play I met her once in northern BC when I was living out in my van, and I remember being blown away then. So full circle, I got to have her back. Lala Noel, who's Kyla Charter, who sings with Asanabi Evans, lead, backup singer there. And she actually collaborated and co-wrote his Juno Award-winning record and his new record with him. So she's his main collaborator. So she is a gorgeous solo artist. She just was ethereal and took us to another universe. And I mean, there were so many artists. Irene Torres, a Peruvian jazz artist. I had Sarah McDougall, who is one of my best friends and produced my Quarantine Dream record.
Irene Torres, I feel like this is a James B connection.
Yes, James B. I also know James B.
There's like the James B stable.
Yeah, I know. I used to go sailing with James B.
Okay.
When I was young and cool.
I can't imagine what was happening on that boat.
We just got silly, listened to some really great music. I fell in love with jazz through James B. I grew up listening to jazz music because I had to dance to it.
Keep going. I'm going to find my Look People.
Oh my God, no way. Yeah. No, James is an old friend. Oh, it's right there. Let me see.
There you go. Would you consider James B to be a famous person?
I think so.
All right, here's a mind blow for you. You probably know this. Everyone knows this except me, and then I need to point it out. But Clayton Tyson. Do you know who Clayton's parents are?
No, who?
Ian and Sylvia Tyson.
No way. Really?
Isn't that wild?
That is wild.
4 strong winds.
Look at this design.
And Sylvia's still with us. Ian's passed on, but 4 strong winds might be might be our anthem.
Huh? Like mine and yours?
Like Canada's.
4 strong. Like the entire
What would be our
nation.
anthem? That's what I want to know, Andrea.
We're going to come up with it by the end. We have to see where the conversation goes, I think. Yeah.
I'm shouting out people who are actually following along live because there's such lovely comments here. And we better warn Lee Aaron, okay? Get the restraining order intact, Lee Aaron, because Midtown Gord found Well, actually, maybe you're the one who should be concerned, but no, I'm just kidding. Midtown Gord's a sweetheart. We love Midtown Gord, but he's found the article from 2016 where Scarlett Jane played on the same bill as Lee Aaron in Timmins.
Yes.
So he's found the article, so he can tell you that it did happen.
Gord is a detective.
Yeah. Andrew Ward says, watching you react live is so awesome. Oh. So now Andrew knows how I feel. Okay, so I got to say hello to Hey Ref. Hey Ref is a hockey referee. That's why he's called Hey Ref. Burlington Rob. I'm honored that Burlington Rob is here. No offense, Hey Ref, but Burlington Rob, keyboardist for Spoons.
Oh, okay.
Do you know Spoons? The
No.
Spoons, the Burlington band from the 80s. They had hits like Nova Heart and Romantic Traffic. I actually now need to play Romantic Traffic because you don't know. I have to play this for you. I need you to, because Rob is listening.
I was little in the 80s.
This. Well,
I was around. I was listening to music, Casey Kasem's Weekly Top 40.
Yeah, they wouldn't have been heard on Casey Kasem because that was America's Top 40, and this was a Canadian hit. Yeah. So I'm going to find this. Come on, Mike. Here it is. Okay. Let me know if it rings a bell at all. And if it doesn't, that's fine.
You'll forgive me.
The 5 years I have on you are very important 5 years for Spoons, I think. Like, that's your out.
Yes, it was synth. He's amazing.
It's not ringing a bell for her, Rob.
Sorry.
Nope, she doesn't know it.
But it brings me right to the 80s, and I like it.
That's good, because Bruce co-wrote this with Gord Depp, who is the frontman for Spoons.
I thought you said you only knew 10 things. I think a few.
That's 11.
Yeah, well, I think there was
Ready?
another. Yeah.
You want to sing with me? Hold on. You'll pick it up quick. Ready? Hold on. See, I memorized the words.
I actually know this chorus.
Hey, that's good news.
Yes.
So Rob, Burlington Rob, as he wants to be known, that is good news. So hello to J-Ho, Jeremy Hopkin, who is the official Toronto historian of the Toronto Mike podcast. A lot of good people coming out here today. Okay, so I'm going to play one more song from you, but I'm going to shout out a podcast called Building Toronto Skyline, which is hosted by Nick Iones from Fusion Corp. And there's a recent episode where Nick talks to somebody from Pinnacle International, which is developing the residential condo tower at 1 Yonge Street, which is going to be the tallest skyscraper in the country, in the very sovereign, fiercely independent country of Canada. That's important you take notes of that. Okay, so let's hear some Andrea here before...
Wait, I'm curious what you're going to play.
Well,
Are you going to play Golden? Can I tell the story of Golden?
Okay. Why don't you let me play what I'm going to play?
You're fine. You are going to play Golden. That's Golden.
I was always going to play Golden.
I love Golden.
We're on the same wavelength.
I do love it.
Tell me there's nothing between us. Tell me that you never think of me at all. Tell me that I'm making things up in my head like I always do. Tell me there's nothing between us. And the days go by, longing, waiting for you. Come feed this fire. Tell me you don't feel it too. Make me burn brighter. My love is golden. It's golden for you. I'm getting lost in the sight of you. I feel the current pulling me in. Pulling me into you. You think our love is forbidden. That's why you're keeping it hidden. But you know what I know, and we know the truth. And
son of a gun. Sounds amazing in these headphones.
Thanks.
You made that.
Yes.
You
well,
did that.
with help with producer and
Who's helping you with that?
Anastasia Petrova produced this. So I was at a song camp at Universal Music, and it was this cool song camp to get more women and, you know, non-binary artists in the studio and working together. And Sky Wallace was a part of it. A bunch of great people.
I love Sky Wallace.
Same. Also Jem, who's one of my dearest friends now. We met through this, and we wrote our Shimmering Chrome duet together. So out of that song camp came my friendship with Jem, who also is a solo artist but plays keys with me. So we've toured together since. Our duet, and then this song, which opened the Paris Olympic Games on CBC TV. It was just such a beautiful
And I bet you Tim
moment.
Thompson did the montage.
Tim, I love Tim. So Tim I've known for many years. Tim did the montage, and Randall Adjei, who is our poet laureate, Ontario's poet laureate, as well as Felicia George, 3-time Olympian. They did this spoken word, beautiful piece together.
I remember this. I'm a big Olympics head.
Yeah. And so, and that opened, and Andy Petrillo, who was giving the news, her and I went to high school together, and we used to do drama skits together. So she messaged me. She's like, I can't believe this is your song. Can I show your high school yearbook photo on the, you know, the opening coverage? I'm like, I guess. And they showed like the most hideous photos of us when we were like 14.
I assign you homework? Can you ask Andy if she'll come on Toronto Mike?
Sure.
I want Andy Petrillo on Toronto Mike. I see her do the Prime. There's a hockey game Monday nights on Prime, and she's doing that. And she's, like I said, she's all over the soccer stuff. And the
she was
Olympics
made for that. Like as a kid, you knew that that's what she was going to do. And I think she even said to me,
she probably
knew
enjoy
that
some Palma pasta.
Yeah. I would, you know what? I will text her after.
Okay, that's your assignment.
We're off the thing.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, we're going to get Andy Petrillo here in the basement. Yeah, Tim Thompson just put together a Canada thing that went viral in this country.
Yeah, it was
so
beautiful.
that's how I want to close. So before, I've been knocking down this beer. I'm so excited to have you here. So I need you to tell me what exactly, where can we see you perform live? What are the active projects? Like what's coming down the pipe? Do that now. I need to know all these.
I mean, live, you know, I'm making films right now, so I'm working on my next short as well as this documentary on the houseless crisis.
Right, so do we have a name for the houseless crisis?
Well, there's a working name. It's probably going to change based on all the findings that I'm discovering as I'm chatting with these beautiful people. Right now it's called A World So Cold. There is a GoFundMe because I am paying the interviewees when I speak to them. And, you know,
tell us where to go
care,
to contribute.
If, you know, just go to GoFundMe, type in A World So Cold. If you'd like to help make the project happen and to bring this issue to light and these people's stories to the public in the form of a documentary film. The next time that I'm actually doing a pretty big show, they haven't announced it, but it's going to be this summer in Toronto. Maybe in the month of June. The Italian boys are coming back. We're going to do 2 festivals, and one of them is in my hometown. So I would say.
Can I take a shot at the name of these Italian guys?
Yeah.
Kalashima?
Kalashima.
I knew.
And you know what? That's not even an Italian word. It's a Greek word. So you're good. You're off the hook. But they're coming back, and honestly, I'm going to tell you, it's the most fun live show I've ever been a part of. It's the coolest. They're amazing musicians. Everyone that sees the concert, like I'm so blessed and lucky that I get to play with these guys. They're just top notch.
They're an electronic folk. Are they electronic folk?
Electronic folk.
Ancestral Italian electronic folk.
But there's like hip hop, there's rock, there's like drum and bass, like it's everything. We have a baritone saxophonist with a live drummer, a DJ, like it's like full on. I dance, I do our traditional dance.
Yeah, we didn't talk a lot about the dance, but I mean, because there's so many like
there's too many things
aspects to your creative life here, Andrea. Yeah. But you were a dancer like first.
I was a dancer since I was 3. Yeah, and that's, you know what, that was my school into music. Like that's how I fell in love with.
But you see what happened?
Music.
Dancing was your gateway to music, and then music was your gateway to film. So what's next?
Actually, no, that's not true.
No, listen, trust me, I know.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think they all kind of are like they're a blob together. They kind of all were dancing around. I think if people want to just keep up to date with what I'm doing, I do love the gram. I do post a lot on the gram. I find that that's one social media platform that I can still use.
Well, I'm going to that wonderful photo we took before we started recording, because normally we do it after, but I knew it would be dark, so we did it before. And I'm going to tag you on Instagram.
Better lighting. Thank you. Yes. Tag me at Andrea Ramolo. And you can find all the posts and the film offshoots. And if there's any screenings coming up, I'm on the festival circuit right now. So hopefully you can catch the short film maybe in our fair city. Oh, I forgot one thing.
Yeah.
I've also recently been brought on board by the ICFF Lavazza Inclusivity Multicultural Film Festival. They're in their 14th year. They take over the Toronto's Distillery District every summer. It's magical. I was one of the main hosts last year, so I got to introduce the stars and the films and interview the directors and whatnot. They are actually the festival that premiered my doc 2 years ago, and I've been really working closely with them, and they've been super supportive. They helped get me my distro deal in Europe, and so I'm now the music programmer coordinator for the stage, as well as I get to choose who we want to fly in celebrity wise, and I get to coordinate and ask all the questions, and it's going to be really fun. So this summer from June the 27th to July 20th.
That's my birthday, you know.
You should come. It's opening night. It's going to be very, oh my God, Isabella Rossellini came last year.
Can I co-MC with you?
You can. I'll invite you up to the stage. I'll make a special permission.
No, okay. I was going to say, this is not one of those Italian things, is it?
No, it used to be an Italian film festival.
Italian,
it
is.
It's
like coffee or something.
It is. They're their main sponsor.
Gotcha.
So of course the name is in it, right? And it's the coffee that I drink. I'm not going to lie, every morning. So you can find me there. I might even do an offshoot of our music festival on
That's the
stage.
day after TMLX 18 at not Palma. It's at Great Lakes Brewery here in South Etobicoke, which is June 26th from 6 to 9 p.m. You could come out for that, and then all of the FOTMs will come to the Distillery District for the ICFF Lavazza Inclusivity. Say that word.
Inclusivity.
That's a tough word.
It's a multicultural
film festival.
It's a long word.
It's late.
Just
also.
call it the
30,
ICFF.
So I'm getting punchy here. Okay, so 2 quick hits from me, and then I know how I want to end. But I do want to point out you're on a TV show. Or you were?
Yes. Well, a few TV shows.
You hesitate.
One TV show is coming out where I play this. Oh, wow. What a character I play. It's coming out, I think, this summer, I heard, on TLN.
Oh, yeah. Whipped cream.
Whipped cream.
You're going to be the fiery Neapolitan Maria Rita.
Oh, my gosh. My character's hilarious. It was so fun to play, but I am a piece of work, let's just say. And I mean, I could tap into that pretty easily.
I can't imagine you being a boisterous piece of work. Okay, boisterous and fiery. So if people have a television, unlike my guest here today, TLN is a station that will have a show called Whipped Cream. Yeah. And you'll be in that, which is very cool. And I did want to ask you, because I do want to close to asking you about Canada, because we know how proud you are of your Italian ancestry. Mm-hmm. But here we are talking in Toronto, Ontario, and Canada as it's known. But on our way to that, I wondered what it was like to share the stage with Gordon Lightfoot.
Oh, it was exhilarating. Actually, I was sandwiched in between Ron Sexsmith and Gordon Lightfoot, singing Gordon Lightfoot songs with him. We sang Summer Side of Life together, and I actually, in Scarlet Jane, we performed Protocol, which is one of my favorite songs. It's a lesser known of his, and he's watched us play his songs a few times actually, and it was very memorable. I'm actually friends with his daughter, Meredith. We played a festival, Peterborough Folk Festival, together this year. We sat on the same stage. We did a songwriter's circle, and I love what she's doing and carrying her father's spirit, but, in her own very unique way, making her own really damn good music. But yeah, it was amazing. What can I say?
How do you feel about traveling to the US of A these days?
I will not. I will not. I do not want to cross that border until things get figured out, I don't even want to talk politics right now. But
we don't even have to go into politics. But when you say figured out, does that mean when there is when Donald Trump is not president?
Well, or anyone like him, sure, yeah.
No, I hear you because, so you're...
How about this? When human beings start being human beings to one another and start treating each other with love and respect and negotiate based on those terms, that's when I'll cross the border.
You're never going back.
I don't know. And, we're seeing a lot of that here too. So my parents are actually, they're like, we should just move back to Italy. I'm like, Mom, you've never said that in your life. She was 4 when she came here.
4?
Yeah. My dad was a bit older, so he has memories of there. But, my mom is more Canadian than anything because she grew up here, and she's ready to go back to Limosano. We're just going to hit the hills of Molise. We're going to live with the donkeys again. It's going to be great.
Look, I saw the Godfather 2. It's beautiful in the old country.
It is beautiful. And honestly, it's, yeah.
But be careful when you turn the ignition in that car because you don't know what's going to happen.
I'll take the donkey instead. It's fine.
Andrea, I got to say, you hit it out of the park in your Toronto Mike debut.
Thank you.
Next time I'm going to record it. Okay?
Imagine.
Don't leave. I know we took our photo already, but don't leave without your lasagna, okay?
No, I won't. This is what I came here for.
And will you review it on that blog? Can you shout out the blog again?
It's The Vintage Italian. It's on Instagram. Follow it.
Oh, so it's not a blog. It's an Instagram.
It's a visual blog with information, history, traditional recipes. Hello, travel tips.
It's on Instagram.
Yes.
It's not really a blog.
It's a visual blog.
It's just not a blog. Do I need to explain what a blog is? You kids
if you
today,
see how long my posts are, they're blogged.
Okay, so I will follow that, and I look forward to the in memory of the wonderful Palma Petrucci, the matriarch of the Petrucci family, who started with her husband Marsilio, started Palma Pasta back in the mid-'80s. In memory of her, Andrea's going to eat her Palma Pasta lasagna and review it on Instagram.
Unless I give it to the Dufferin Grove encampment. And then maybe I'll try a piece. Okay, I'll have a piece.
Just have a little piece.
I wonder how many pieces do you get out of this?
A lot. It's a lot.
Like 25?
Depends how small the slices are. If you cut them up small enough, you can probably get 50 slices out of that.
Oh wow.
You know,
okay.
It all depends.
Now we're talking.
It's like that's how it
I
works.
could feed more people that way.
In this cover of Rosie and Gray, which is a Lowest of the Low song, I met Skye Wallace because she opened up for Lowest of the Low.
Yeah.
And then Ron Hawkins says, you need to talk to this woman. And I said, send her over.
Cool.
Just like Blair said, you need to talk to this Andrea woman with giant hearts.
the two of them.
Both hearts are pretty big as far as I can tell. But in this song, Rob Bruce, who did this cover, he puts Romantic Traffic in there so you cannot recognize it a second time.
Oh.
So look forward to that.
Okay.
And that brings us to the end of our 1656th show. Go to TorontoMike.com for all your Toronto Mike needs. Follow my wonderful guest, who I've been afraid to say her last name for the last hour because I'll butcher it, but Andrea Ramolo. No.
Ramolo. Everyone say it with me.
Andrea Ramolo. Follow her on Instagram.
Thank you.
Do it. Keep up to date with what's going on over there. Much love to all who made this possible. That's Great Lakes Brewery, Palma Pasta, RecycleMyElectronics.ca. This is the A Friendly Giant theme song.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Very good. Building Toronto Skyline and Ridley Funeral Home. Alfie Zappacosta has been on the show, and this is his Pizza Nova jingle.
He created the jingle? No way. Oh, what an icon.
Speaking of proud Italians.
It's true.
And this is Romantic Traffic that Rob Bruce co-wrote with Gordep. Hold on, I'm not done with you yet. I'm going to tell you about all the Easter eggs. Hold on. It's almost Easter.
We're getting all these extra tidbits of information. You've surpassed 20 now, at least.
Can you name this too? So that was Shadowy Man on a Shadowy Planet doing Having an Average Weekend, which is the opening theme for Kids in the Hall.
Oh, wow. Never watched Kids in the Hall. That was during my dance era.